Hello, everyone. Welcome to Molehill Mountain, episode 426. I'm Andrew, and I have graciously taken a break from video games to podcast about video games before I go back to playing video games. So, last week, I think it was the Game Awards. And I know everyone wants to talk about the Expedition 33 team. I forget the name of the studio. Kudos plaudits. But Larian had a nice night too. Didn't win anything so far as I know. I don't think they had a game last year. But Larian Studio is the studio behind Baldur's Gate 3. And still riding high off BG3. If you spend any time on social media, you will undoubtedly come across fan art of characters from Baldur's Gate 3, cosplay from Baldur's Gate 3, fun little 1 to 4 panel web comics from Baldur's Gate 3. Lots and lots of sex jokes about the characters and their various interactions from Baldur's Gate 3. Game came out a few years ago, but it isn't still in taking up space in the forefront of people's minds, and that's pretty good, particularly when you are trying to sell video games. So people are eagerly anticipating what the company might do next, and at the Game Awards, they revealed that their next project is a new entry in the Divinity series. And people are, or rather, Larian Studios is riding so high on the goodwill from Baldur's Gate 3 from a couple of years back. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe it won Game of the Year before last, or whenever it came out. It was at least nominated. That merely announcing the new project was good enough. They didn't have to show gameplay or game footage. No, they had a nifty pre-rendered movie. Does it tell you anything about how the game plays? Nope. You can, if you know what Divinity is, if you're familiar with the franchise, you could probably make an educated guess as to how the game might play. But they didn't need to. They just show a fun little mini movie and say, "Hey, we're working on a Divinity title. It's not an original Sin sequel, but it's in the Divinity franchise." And hello, Chaos. And fans were like, "Yay! I'm so excited. I'm not going to bother to hide it." And you can take more years, and we're riding high on Baldur's Gate 3, and we're excited for Divinity, even though you didn't really show anything. Such is our enthusiasm for your company. So the very next day, the CEO, whose name I didn't write down, of Larian, actually, what is this guy's name? Sven Ving, no, Gary. We'll just call him Gary because I'm not gonna be able to pronounce his name right. So Gary, I think spoke to Bloomberg the day after the Game Awards, and again, Larian Studios is riding high. They didn't even have a game out last year. They didn't win any awards. They just put out a trailer with no gameplay footage, and because of the goodwill brought on by Baldur's Gate 3 a couple of years ago, people were just excited about a new Divinity title. Oh my gosh, so what did Gary do? What did you do, Gary? You went on Bloomberg and you said, "I think at this point everyone at the company, Larian Studios, is more or less okay with the way we're using generative AI." Uh-oh. Oh no, Gary. Gary, no. No, Gary, don't do that. You've shifted the conversation from something good to something bad. Something that people like and are enthusiastic about to something that people don't like and are not enthusiastic about. So now Gary, you've changed the conversation from we're so excited about Larian's upcoming titles, and Larian is, a bulwark against the creative stagnation that we see in other AAA studios, and you went and ruined it. Because now everyone's going, oh no, oh no, oh no. I thought I could trust Larian Studios, but my trust meter's gone down. Oh no. But it's okay. Gary is a professional CEO. He has training in the Jedi arts. The Jedi arts of public communication. He's got his finger on his pulse. And he went out the very next day to clarify things, saying, we've been continuously increasing our pool of concept artists, writers, and storytellers, are actively putting together writer rooms, casting, recording performances from actors, and hiring translators. Since concept art is being called out explicitly, we have 23 concept artists that have job openings and have job openings for more. These artists are creating concept art and day in and day out for ideation and production use. Everything we do is incremental and aimed at having people spend more time creating. Any multi-language model tool used well is additive to the creative team or individual's workflow, not a replacement for their skill or craft. We are researching and understanding the cutting edge of large language models as a tool set for creative use to see how it can make their day-to-day lives easier. We just want to make our employees' lives easier. I'm Gary, you can trust me. Which will help us make better games. We're neither releasing a game with any AI components, nor are we looking at trimming down teams to replace them with AI. You can trust me. I'm a CEO. Would I lie? While I understand it's a subject that invokes lots of emotion, it's something we are constantly discussing internally through the lens of making everyone's working day better, not worse. You dumb fuckers. I mean, you lovely customers, please buy our product. Well, despite his Jedi training, Gary's comments went over like a lead balloon. So he came out later that day to pour water on the raging inferno. And he led with, holy fuck, guys! We're not pushing hard for or replacing concept artists with AI. Because gall darn it to heck, any PR person will tell you, if you say something in public and then you have to address it the next day and walk it back or clarify it, and then later that day you have to do it again, you're doing a swell job. You're so good at this, Gary. You're safe, Gary. I don't think your job could be replaced by AI. So I should have written it down. Someone interviewed, since concept art was a big talking point. This was actually in response to something he'd said earlier, which was the everyone at the company's more or less okay with the way we're using it. So someone went ahead and interviewed concept artists, specifically concept artists from a variety of studios, AAA and indie, and got a dozen people on the record, and none of them are okay with generative AI. They say it makes their jobs harder. And as someone who is and has been tasked for the past 7 months now with evaluating generative AI and determining how it can be most effectively employed in a work environment to improve efficiency and accuracy. Another way of putting that is we spent a lot of money on this shit. I expect you to justify the amount of money that we spent on it. I know what they're talking about, and they speak the truth. So now instead of at least the social media world conversation being all excited and full of praise and excitement and look forwardness, now it's all about, oh God, it's gonna suck. It's gonna, sure, the CEO, Gary, who I'm sure he's very trustworthy, but is he though? If he's clearly lying when he says everyone's okay with it. By everyone, he means him and his investors are okay with it. He's a liar. He doesn't give a shit about artists or art. So, good job, Gary. You fucked yourself over. But you know who's going to lose their jobs over this? Not Gary. No. No, not Gary. Gary will be fine. I know you're all concerned about multimillionaire Gary, but he'll be fine. He'll be even wealthier. He'll be fine. The creatives, the people who actually make the things that we all enjoy, they might not. But Gary will be okay. Somehow, some way, Gary will pull through. Chaos says, last thing or game I was really excited for is Breath of the Wild. Wow, that was back in 2017. It's been a while, damn. Um, Professional CEO just means master bullshitter. I mean, he's not even good at it. I mean, seriously, this is something you say to your investors. This isn't something you say in a public interview, jackass. Read the room. You're so bad at your job. This is like the only thing you have to do. This is literally the only part of your job. You barely work. Being a CEO is easy. There's no work involved. You don't actually do anything. I mean, people joke about it, but the type of job that an AI would be best at is CEO. And it might actually be better at it. Because you just fucking ignore it. I wouldn't say Divinity is DOA now, but this certainly did just throw some bucket of cool water on the raging inferno of enthusiasm that was surrounding this game and this studio in general. Is this going to lose any sales? No, probably not. Also, the game is way the hell out there. Plenty of time to course correct. But, oh, wow, man. Just, on the same level as Xbox leadership. Yeah, there's just, I, It seems like a lot of CEOs think that the executive class and the investor class are like the only people. Well, I guess that's actually the point, because I would imagine that Gary here doesn't see us as the customer. We're the product that he's selling to his true customers, his investors, and the stakeholders. That's his customer. That's who he's selling. CEOs are selling us to them. And they're really annoyed by all those creative assholes that they have to pay. They're like, man, because, Gary sees absolutely no difference between if he looks at concept art from actual concept artists or some shit that generative AI popped out, he sees no fucking difference. He could say, I want a castle and a vampire. And, it'll cost him, hundreds of dollars and, over, hundreds of dollars a day to get a concept artist to put out some, concept art, some ideas for a castle and vampires and stuff like that. And he'll look at that and he'll go, okay, that cost me, $1,200 over 2 days, but I could just write Castle with Vampire into Midjourney or something like that, and it shits out a castle and a vampire. And sees no difference between the two. It's like, that's a castle and a vampire. What do I need you for? I could just type this shit into it. It's easy. Just type it, type it, type it. Gary and people of his ilk don't give a shit about art. They genuinely do not. They give a shit about money. Which, I mean, okay, I give a shit about money too. I like money. I would like to have more of it. I'd like y'all to have more money too. Unless any billionaires watching, I think you should have less money. um yeah, I don't begrudge people who like money. I do too, but I've said it before, and I don't think there needs to be a law or anything, but I just feel that it would be better for everyone involved that if you run a company, you should at least be passionate about the thing that your company does, right? You don't need to be good at it, right? Gary doesn't need to be good at playing games or making games or designing games. But I do think Gary, the game studio CEO, should genuinely like games. And the impression I get from Gary and his ilk is he doesn't. And a lot of times it feels like it goes further than that. It's not just an ambivalence. I think he doesn't like games. I think these people really do not like art or artists. They're annoying and they get in the way. They're just an extra expense. It's like, if I can just get the garbage that ChatGPT and Midjourney and all the other things shit out and get a bunch of people to just slurp that up and throw cash at it, what do I need all these creatives for? The people who study and hone their crafts and are passionate and care about stuff. They're just in the way. They take forever and they cost money, right? That's the attitude that seems to be that seems to just radiate off this class of people, which is at best disappointing. Chaos. Microsoft, a $3 trillion company, is hurting for money so much that they couldn't be bothered to do their annual Xbox wrap up. Oh, really? More CEOs should be like Satoru Iwata. So, dead? Probably not what you meant, but I mean, I certainly don't. It's difficult because at least the perception, right? The perception of Nintendo is orders of magnitude better than the perception of most other game companies, particularly ones in this country, America. Um, Now, they are, of course, overly litigious. I do think that's a demerit right there. But they certainly seem to be better. I don't know how good they are. I don't know how wonderful a work environment they foster. I don't know if there's uh, I don't know what the culture is like. I don't know the work culture. I mean, well, shit. I don't know what Japanese culture is like either. I've watched a bunch of anime, so goddamn it, I know Japanese culture. Um, I don't know if they're crunched. I don't know if they're paid well. I don't know if they're compensated fairly with various benefits. I don't know, but I can tell you at least Nintendo is better by degrees at their public perception. Like, Activision, Ubisoft. Well, Ubisoft's not an American company, but Activision, Ubisoft, uh, they are just outright villains, right? Like the CEO of Activision is caught on tape threatening to murder people. Still got his job. It's Bobby Kotick, by the way. Yves Guillemot, the guy who still somehow is the CEO of Ubisoft, protects and covers up sex pests. Still got his job. So a lot of these companies are just outright villainous. Is Nintendo villainous too? Don't know. Wouldn't be surprised, but they're at least at least you're hiding your villainy. Boy, that's sad. That's a low fucking bar. But yeah, Nintendo is overly litigious, yes, and sometimes in a villain in an outright villainous manner. But yeah, at least when it comes to public perception, and Nintendo's certainly a lot better at it than the Activisions and Ubisofts of the world, who are just straight up out and proud villains. Bad people who routinely hurt their employees. So, like, I'm like Activision, Microsoft, they lay off thousands of people every single year. Now, either Nintendo doesn't lay off large swaths of people very frequently, or they're really good at hiding that. Because I can't even, I'm not saying it's never happened, but off the top of my head, I can't think of an instance of mass layoffs at Nintendo. Doesn't mean it's never happened. Just, it's certainly not it's either not as frequent, or it's nowhere or as large scale, or it's not as public. Don't know. Chaos, talking about Iwata, he was a developer first and was actually passionate about it, and he knew what it takes to make it. That's true. Iwata, at the very least, again, and I apologize for the hedging, which maybe is annoying, but Iwata came across as someone who genuinely cared about art and video games, and as you said, was a developer, similar to Shigeru Miyamoto, right? And he, to the point where, and if you ever read the translations of the Iwata Asks series that they did for several years, he came across as a guy who was genuinely invested and interested and passionate about the art of creating games, and that's great to see. Look at Masahiro Sakurai, the guy who does Smash Brothers and just did Kirby Star Racer, Air Ride, Kirby Air Riders. That guy is so passionate about what he does. I'm actually kind of concerned for his well-being. He's a guy who's so goddamn passionate that fans like me are like, Sakurai, dude, take a break, man. Like, go walk your dog or walk your cat or something, man. I don't want you to burn out, or like I'm genuinely concerned for your well-being. I mean, you seem well-adjusted and happy, but you're doing a lot. Like take care of yourself, man. We care about you. Considering their employee retention rate is around 98%, so I would guess the culture is pretty good. Yeah, outward appearances are, especially comparatively, very positive. CKS says, in the Wii U era when Nintendo was hurting financially, the famous story of Iwata and the upper management taking pay cuts to avoid laying people off. Great story. That's a feel-good story. And that's not and who knows, maybe that is spin, right? But like what I'm saying is the Western world countries broadly don't even attempt that kind of spin. They're like, No, 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 no. No, we're not going to do that. We're going to brag about the layoffs because people are impressed by big numbers. They're like, you know, if we lay off 1,500 people at once, that's going to be a big number, and people are impressed by big numbers. That will get us a lot of attention. You know what they say? There's no such thing as bad publicity. Hmm. Well, let's stop talking about this because I was gonna just make fun of Gary, the CEO here, just a quick thing, and then move to more fun topics. But then I ended up yapping about it for half an hour. So, all right, enough of Gary. Gary's a dipshit. If like Baldur's Gate 3, if Divinity succeeds, it will be despite Gary. Definitely not because of Gary. All right, so I finished Trails in the Sky remake earlier this week, and I was amused to find because I remember last fall somewhere. Actually, I guess it's technically the start of winter. A couple months ago, it was I don't remember if it was announced or if it was just very heavily rumored to be almost 100% certain that Gung Ho and Falcom would be putting out a second chapter remake. And, well, they absolutely definitely are. One, because a couple of days ago, they released a trailer for it. But what you may not know is that trailer that they released a couple of days ago plays after you beat the game. So that trailer's on the disc that they sold us last September, October, whenever it came out. So they've known for a long time that they were going, because it shows gameplay and cutscenes and stuff. They've already, yeah, the game is probably very, very close to done and has been for a while. So yeah, there was never any certain. I mean, I guess they could just stop and if the game completely flopped, they could have just shelved it. But um, I thought that was kind of funny. Also, if I'm not mistaken, I think I beat the game the same day that they released the trailer for second chapter, which is kind of funny. But anyway, yes, we will at least get a second chapter. Will we get the third? Who knows? Will we get Crossbell? Who knows? But so final thoughts on Trails in the Sky remake. I, having only played up through where I am in Cold Steel 2, I have no idea which quality of life improvements or aspects of the gameplay and mechanics are brand new, and which ones are borrowed from titles I've not played yet. Uh, but I really, really like pretty much everything. I was a little unsure about the dual real time and turn based battling. When I first came across it, I was like, I don't know about this. But I ended up thinking that, feeling that's quite a nice addition. It adds some really interesting strategy, particularly because you can use the active battle stuff to build up multipliers for your EXP rewards at the end of combat. So I would, pardon me, I would always try to, depending on the size of the group, I would try to do at least one dodge, because that's doing that will get you a EXP multiplier. Doing one of the strong attacks, which you have to build up meter for, because doing that at least once gives you another multiplier. Um, and then outright killing something will give you a multiplier too, but that takes too long. So I rarely ever did that unless it was one of the secret caves. I don't know how secret they are. One of the hidden caves. Um, that either are not in the original or I completely missed all of them in the original. Uh, that just have some fodder enemies. And it became I thought I felt it was just a smart way to help you engage with different mechanics. I also like the fact that they incorporated a lot of newer mechanics into particularly the arts and ordnance, but still broadly kept how it worked in Sky because lore-wise, Liberal, Crossbell, and Erebonia, and I would assume Calvard, use different orbments. You know, uh, from a real life perspective, the orbments are different because they're just changing things up. They're making things better. But in game, it's like, well, of course it's different. It's a completely different country. They build their stuff differently, which is a fun way to treat mechanic progression like that. I really like that. But so they've long since moved away from how the orbments worked in Sky with the multiple lines and the different quartz having elemental values that add up to certain numbers that once you reach that threshold, you will activate certain arts. Um, they keep that in Remake, but they do a really nice thing by just having a toggle which brings up a menu that tells you all of the elemental values for each spell. The original Sky does have that, but it's in a completely different location. It's in like your Bracer handbook. It's in like the help menu. So if you're playing it, so you open the menu, you go across the top to the orbments, you open up your orbment and you start plugging around your quartz, and you're like, okay, what is it? What are the values I need for this spell? Okay, exit, 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 exit. Open up the Bracer handbook, tabbity, tabbity, tab all the way to the thing, the help menu, scroll, 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 scroll. Okay, this. What the hell art was I thinking about? Go back to the orbit. Oh, that one, right. Okay, go back to the list. Okay, I need 6 red and 4 green. Okay. Close, 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 close. Menu, tabbity, 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 orbment, go, open the thing. Shit, what are the values again? Basically, if you played the original, you kind of had to, open up GameFAQs or something and just keep a goddamn list next to you so you didn't have to keep flopping back and forth. Whereas in the remake, there's just a real convenient toggle menu that'll pop up and help you. And that's, oh my god, that's so helpful. Because it's almost to the point where you just don't engage with it in the original Sky. Also, in the original Sky, I felt that the arts weren't tuned in a way that made them as valuable in addition to combat as they certainly are in the remake. In fact, I think Falcom really started nailing it once they hit Cold Steel. Granted, I'm also playing on difficult. Maybe that has something to do with it, but I felt that, in some of the earlier games, I didn't use arts as much as I do now. Now they are a large part of my mechanical repertoire when it comes to combat. And that's always nice. Because a lot of times in these games, I don't engage with the magic system that much. I'm playing Suikoden right now. I'm finally getting back to Suikoden, and I don't engage with magic that much because it's just kind of a pain in the ass to set up, and it's very limited use. So it feels like something, oh shit, I better save these for the boss, you know? Um, Skies of... Do I have the right one? Skies of Arcadia, one of my favorite RPGs. Great RPG, wonderful mechanics, but man, the magic is kind of useless in that game. It's just like, why would I use that when I have the special? I forget what they're actually called, but the special attacks they kind of just make magic completely useless. It's like, why would I use that? Because it's this finite value of things that are kind of expensive to refill. Whereas the way a remake works is you are constantly, you can definitely have EP charges, but you are constantly refilling your EP meter, so you are encouraged to just use your damn spells. Also, another thing I really like is in the original game, if you are on a critical and you cast a spell, because it takes some time to get that spell to proc, you lose the critical. But in Remake, if you are on a critical and you cast a spell, that critical moves down to where you cast the spell. That's a good change because, again, it encourages you to engage with this actual component of the combat mechanics. Great choice. Chicago, hello. What are we talking about? Talking about kind of comparing Sky First Chapter and Remake. Yeah, I finished Remake and I quite like it. Um, I think I think whoever did the voice direction should be replaced because whoever that is did not do a very good job. I think some of the acting is very good. I think generally the acting in the game, the vocal performances range from acceptable to super good. Olivier is just wonderful in that part. Um, I was actually really impressed with Alba, particularly his final moment in the game. Uh, Man, that his final conversation with Joshua, which is fully voiced, damn, that really worked. That really came across the way it needed to come across. I mean, it was effective in solid text in the original, but a competent and quality vocal delivery from the actor who played Professor Alba um, really heightened that, really brought it to the next level. Super, super good. Um, I don't mind that the script is different, the localization script. Um, yes, I am sad that the venomous fangs of lust is missing because it's just such a funny damn line. Even if that's not at all what the original Japanese said, it's just such a funny damn line. That's sad. I don't get why they renamed the acerbic tomato the bitter tomato. Like, there's literally a line in there talking about how it's not a very inventive name, and I'm like, yeah. Um, but the biggest problem I have is a combination of the localization, the new localization script, and the voice direction. Um, there is a difference between dialogue that is never intended to be spoken, to be performed out loud, and dialogue that is only ever intended to be read. It's a very different, you have to write that differently. Um, and it feels like some of the folks who were writing the new translation kind of missed the memo on that because a lot of the lines of dialogue are not written in a way that anyone would actually say them. And the actors, to their credit, man, they spoke the words on the page even if it was awkward and didn't work. And that's on the voice director. Those lines should have been tweaked to make them a lot more palatable. Also, there's a lot of issues in the game where where a lot of cutscenes are half voiced, like only one side of the conversation is actually voiced. Like they didn't have a really good plan of what was going to be voiced and what wasn't, or maybe they didn't get the schedules all worked out because there are a bunch of conversations where someone is voiced and like, Estelle, Joshua, how are you doing? And the camera cuts to Estelle and Joshua and it's just text, they're not voiced. That happens a lot. Almost to the point where it feels like a stylistic choice. A bad stylistic choice. Chicago says the Keep Open Sky remake goes on sale so I can pick it up. Yeah, I mean, it's only been out for like 2 months or so, so I imagine it'll drop in price over the next, sometime over the next year. It'll probably be put down a little bit to prepare for the release of second chapter, which I think said fall 2026. I don't remember if it said 2026 or fall 20. I think it said fall 2026. At least that's what I've got stuck in my head. Um, so, but yeah, also, also with voice direction, there's a bunch of like when the script says eek, you don't literally say eek. But the voice actors, with one exception that I can remember, I think it was Colonel Richard maybe who had some I don't think it was eek. I think it was something else, um but man, there's a bunch of like onomatopoeia dialogue that's literally stated like blurb 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 eek. What are some others? I can't remember some others, but it's the kind of thing where you feel secondhand embarrassment for the actors. It's like, because I can imagine the actor going, you know, or something like that, and they go, no, 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 it says eek. You want me to say eek? That's what it says in the script. Okay. Um. Chicago says maybe the voice actor were told to say the word eek instead of just voicing it. Considering that it happens all the time, with not every time. I mentioned I think Colonel Richard has one that doesn't do that. It's multiple different characters and it's throughout the entire game. So yeah, that's a vocal direction thing. And even if your actor does that, you stop them and you say, okay, record that again. You don't literally. It's like writing "rower" in the script. That's supposed to be a guttural, animalistic growl. Growl. It's something. You don't literally say "rower" unless you're making a joke like the lost skeleton of Cadavra, which is a hilarious joke in that movie. Because there's a animal human hybrid character in that um, movie who speaks in animalistic growls and stuff, and it's clear that the script that she's reading off of says RAWR, and the actor just keeps going rower. And it's clear that the director of this movie, because it's a spoof comedy, just didn't give a shit. That's the joke. But the joke that was made in The Lost Skeleton of Cadabra is literally done straight-faced in this game. Also, some of the lines of dialogue are, I think probably my favorite is Chloe's voice line when she casts one of the water arts when she's in your party in Rouen. So she casts the water spell, and I think her voice line is something like "Swallow it all." Uh, you want to rethink that line? Swallow it all. I mean, I like I get what I mean. That probably sounds great in Japanese. I get what she's going for there. Like water thing, drowning, right? Um, that line needs a rewrite. There's any number of things you could do, but swallow it all is like no. No, young Chloe. That's the kind of thing where Estelle and Joshua just stop what they're doing and slowly turn to look at her. It's like, Chloe, no. Um. So yeah. So the localization script is, in my subjective opinion, better in the original game. Uh. And there's some issues with the voice direction, even though there are a lot of very strong performances in this game. Um, no one who's outright bad, but there's plenty who are just kind of fine, and others that are just kind of like off and on. Like For me, Estelle was like just fine. Um, I didn't find her Bestelle as I did in the first game without a voice attached to it. Um, Sherazard is sometimes she's quite strong, and sometimes she's it feels like the actor was reading a line off of a script for the first time that day, and they just took that recording because they had no time. I don't know. So it's really a mixed bag. It doesn't make the game bad, to be clear. Um, but the new mechanics are very strong. The game is visually quite attractive. Um, the individual animations are very nice, like the individual combat animations. But most of the cutscenes are canned animations of the characters standing there talking to each other. I mean, they'll put their hands on their hips, or they'll yeah, or they'll fist pump, or they'll cross their arms, and they have different facial expressions, which read really nicely. Um, but I mean, it's a really long RPG. It's really hard to hand animate each one. Um, let's see. I think probably the most awkward one is the same one that troubles pretty much every anime game studio. Is anytime a character needs to leave the scene, it's always really awkward. One of the worst animation, one of the seemingly most difficult animations to do, is get a character to turn around and walk away. Usually, what happens is I'm going to leave now. Yeah, and they just kind of rotate because the way we do that is we like step forward to put weight on one side and then push in the other direction, right? It's a very mechanically complicated movement to change direction. Walk cycles are hard enough. Getting someone to shift weight properly and then ambulate their body in a different direction is probably very hard to do, but it always comes across so stiff. The character's like, okay, I'm leaving now. Rotate, 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 and then they start walking, and they almost always have this just casual stroll. You see this in the Yakuza games so often. Whenever there's a foreground cutscene, watch the NPCs just walking in the background because they're almost always programmed to cutscene. So you'll have a person just dum de doody dum de doody. Whoops! There's a cutscene over there. Guess I'll go the other way, and it's so distracting and so awkward. Hopefully they have a better solution for that. Um, it's like forcing an actor to say blink instead of blinking. Yeah, I mean nothing quite that bad. Um, Now, what's funny is like Tio in Crossbell actually vocalizes the onomatopoeia for glaring at somebody. She's like, you know, but that's also an anime thing, so at least in Japanese that works. I don't know how you would localize that because that is not a thing that English speakers do. We don't go glare, right? I mean, a localized version of that might just be a rather than glare. You know, I I don't know how you do that, but yeah. So it's not perfect. If I had to pick, I'd say narratively, I think the original game works better just because the localized script flows so much more cleanly. Um, However, there are a lot of genuinely great vocal performances in this, and some of the voice direction is bad enough to genuinely be funny. Swallow it all. What? Are you sure you want to go with that? It doesn't have any weird connotations, does it? Nope, not a one. Overall, I really liked Cold Steel, Sky Remake. Looking forward to Sky Remake 2. Um, and Yeah, that's all I've got to say about that. Um, Finally, got back to playing Monster Hunter because that got updated again. Monster Hunter Wilds. It added Gogmazios, which is a monster, and not new to the franchise. Gogmazios was in four, I think, but I never played four because it released on the handheld, and that is not where I want to play a Monster Hunter game. There was I think Generations or something was like on this, got ported from the handheld to the Switch, but I was like, eh. So this is my first experience fighting Gogmazios, and golly, that is a fun fight. They did a really nice job. Um, it's interesting because it's one where you get to use seven support hunters. Your Palico, your cat companion, doesn't come with you. You actually get a bunch of the support hunters to go with you. So you have a whole team of eight, which is pretty cool because this would be very difficult to solo. Impossible for me. So I'm really glad for the support hunters because I do not play online. I don't do the multiplayer thing. And there have been a couple monsters in the past that I've been kind of locked out of. Kolv Taroth, Safi Jiva. Those are built specifically for multiplayer, which is fine, but leaves me out in the cold. I don't get to enjoy the monster, and I don't get to enjoy the mechanics that are introduced by its weapon set. But Gogmazios I do, because I can just bring the support hunters with me, and I can beat it no problem. Um, Very fun fight. It's I think it's probably the best pure spectacle fight that I've seen the Monster Hunter games do thus far. Like Zora Magdaros from Monster Hunter World, the big walking mountain one, is a spectacle, but it's not very fun, right? The first phase is like you have to get on Zora Magdaros, and then you like have to beat up a bunch of rocks, which are like its power cores, but essentially you're smacking a glowing rock. It's not very engaging. It's not very fun. It makes sense in context. It's just not fun. And then you fight the hell's the name of the creature? The spiky spiky cover boy. I forget the creature's name. Um, you fight a different monster on its back, and then it gets where it's going, and you just kind of have to run back and forth, loading cannons and stuff, and firing cannons at it. It's it's a spectacle, sure. It's just not very fun. With Gogmazios, it's a spectacle, yes, but it's also pretty, for the most part, just a classic monster fight. It's got its unique gimmicks, certainly. There's a laser gun that's stuck on that's jammed up its ass, and you have to knock the laser gun out of its ass, and then you have to plug in the laser gun, let it charge, and then shoot the monster with the laser gun. Right, but so there's this actual spectacle, unique mechanic here, but most of the time you're just fighting a big monster that's trying to bite you. Um, uh, it also does a DPS check, but it's also one that feels a little bit more fair, I think. Um, because at least the first time it does the big screen clearing explosion thing, if you didn't meet the check, there is one safe area you can stand in and avoid it. Now that safe area gets destroyed, so you better get it right next time, but I feel it's a lot more accommodating, whereas with Elatrion, you don't meet that DPS check, you're dead. It's unsurvivable. You are not going. That's just gonna kill you dead. Um, I'm really enjoying the Zora, not Zora Magnos, Gogmazios fight. A lot of fun, very cool monster. The music is great. Um, it drops slinger ammo, which is like little mini lasers that you can actually charge up, which is pretty fun. So really liking it. Uh, oh, it is on sale. Oh, sweet. Um, but is Gogma really that hard? No. No, for there is another quest that will challenge you in a way that Gogmazios could never dream. And that is the triple Blangonga quest. Holy shit. There's a the winter festival Lumenhim or whatever it's called, which boy, they are knocking the decorations out of the park. There's the hub area, and they had a they had a spring, a summer, a fall, and now a winter where they event where they deck out the gathering hub with pretty decorations. There's fireworks, and the diva has a new song, and there's a new meal to eat. The bowling, the bombs are different. This time it's the little Woodwood teddy bear slash Ewok creatures, and it just kind of explodes into a bunch of smaller teddy bears. It's really weird. Like the summer one was literally a beach ball that explodes. So it's just a ton of fun. One of the special quests this time is the Triple Blango event, and it takes place in the arena. So you're fighting three tempered Blangongas in one enclosed space. So you're always going to be fighting all three of them at once. They can't like one of it. You can't dung bomb them and get one or two to peel off and go away so you can focus on one. No, it's all three all the time. It's I don't remember if they're 9 stars or not, but all three of them are tempered. Two of them are the 5 purple stars, and one I think is a 4 purple star. So there's a gold crown large and a gold crown small, and then a medium sized one. Plus the little Blangos are there, and there's like 8 of them on the screen at the same time. Maybe 9. Maybe each one gets 3. Um, so all of them can they can roar, they can tremor, and they can breathe. They have ice breath, which locks you in place. Now you can counter all of this stuff, like the ice breath you can counter with a cleanser. Tremor you can have. There are skills that anti-tremor. There's of course earplugs for roars, but oh man, that it took me like nearly 25 minutes to kill 3 Blangonga with endgame sets and weaponry. Because I spent most of the time on my ass. Because if one wasn't roaring and locking me down, another one started roaring. And if I and the way Blangonga attacks is it launches itself at you face first and ass first, depending on its mood, from like across the arena. So you are constantly so if you're playing a slower weapon like Greatsword, holy shit, you are going to be struck from off screen very often. You probably going to want to get at least earplugs and one of the faster weapons like dual blades or sword and shield or something like that. You know, a good stick and move kind of a weapon. Um it is uh, that was an immense amount of fun, I thought, because there's so much going on and you are constantly just being pinballed all over. Now if you're in endgame armor, um it's very survivable, but you if you take a bad hit you can easily get carted. Like if you get locked down and then something punches you and then you get stunned and then something else decides to sit on your face, yeah, you're getting kitty carded. Man, there's just no two ways about it. That like I can, Gogmazios took me 23. I think the first time I fought Gogmazios took me a little over 25 minutes. Seems like 27 minutes or something like that. My second time I had it down to like 23 or something like that. My first fight with triple Blango with all the little Blangos, that was a solid 25 minutes. And the hard thing is, it's like, well, just focus on one. Very hard to do because, not to be racist, but all the Blangonga look the same to me. um, and also, they just move so much that it's really difficult to focus on one. I mean, I guess you can paintball one or something, but it's not. One thing about the paintball in this game, it's just, to my eye, just not very visible. So it took me a solid 20 minutes to get them to skull, and which means they're almost dead. A little skull icon appears on the minimap. And basically all three of them went skull at the same time, which meant that I was pretty much dividing my attention between them pretty equally. That quest is an amazingly goofy cluster of obnoxious fun, and it's probably one of my favorite quests. There's actually a triple farting pink monkey. Which one is that? Kongalala. But that one takes place in the forest. So a lot of times they'll spread out. The Blangonga are a lot faster, a lot more aggressive, and when they're in the arena, there's just no escaping them. So, yeah, I would say now I would say yeah, Savage Omega is still harder, but yeah, I'd say the triple Blango fight in the arena actually harder than Gogmazios. A lot funnier than Gogmazios too. Gogmazios is just epic. You're like, oh, I'm such a badass, and then the proof of the hero song comes in at the end. You're like, ah, for the Hunters Guild or something like that. The Blango one is just playing pinball, and you are the pinball. Monster Hunter is fun. I like Monster Hunter. The DLC is way overpriced. Like, again, I don't begrudge cat. They're these events are going above and beyond. I feel for free content. So I turn my nose up at DLC for the most part. But when you're providing this much free content, the free updates to a very expensive game, but a meaty product in and of itself, I'm fine with they continue to support it for a year and a half or whatever. If you're going to help supplement the cost of that with DLC, as long as it's not affecting the game, like they're not selling armors or weapons, some layered stuff that doesn't have any skills, but it's mostly all just cosmetic, or it's actually, unless I'm not thinking something, it's all cosmetic stuff. You know what? Fine. You're doing a great job with the game. I'm really enjoying it. I've put 400 hours in it over the last year. Go ahead and sell some DLC, cosmetic DLC. Although the edit vouchers, that's bullshit. Don't do that. That's shitty, and you should feel bad, Capcom. But the rest of it, it's fine. It's just way overpriced. Seriously, $6 for a layered outfit for an NPC? Not even for your character, like for your handler. During the festivals, your handler and the weaponsmith lady get bespoke special costumes for the duration of the event, which usually lasts a couple of weeks. And if you really like it and you want them to hang out in their summer duds or their spooky witch costumes during the fall event, you can buy those and dress them in them whenever you want. And that's fine. That's cool. I don't have a problem with that. But $6 a pop? That's just absurd. That's insultingly absurdly high. That's just greedy. That I don't like. So no one asked me. But if they had, I would have told them, like, I don't begrudge them selling some cosmetic DLC to help, you know, keep supporting the game with new cool stuff. I just wish it were reasonably priced. Or maybe I'm unreasonable and $6 for an NPC's outfit is perfectly reasonable. I mean, it's like a tenth of the cost of the entire game, but what do I know? Let's see. Steam has oh, it's on sale for $45 in Steam. All right. D. Oh, on sale for the on so digital sale. Well, a lot of time, keep an eye on the stores. A lot of times, the stores will match whatever Steam is charging. So, yeah. Suikoden. I mentioned I finished Sky remake, so I'm going back to Suikoden, which I think I first played in like April. That game actually, I played it some more today, and it has some more mechanics that I did not know were in the game. It's got like literal army versus army battles, which I've only seen one, and also a one-on-one duel kind of a thing, which I've only seen one of each of these mechanics. They seem to be a bit too rock paper scissors for my liking. They seem to be kind of luck based, which I don't really care for, but certainly an interesting addition. I will have this is actually a Patreon reward video. I was asked to play Suikoden and well, Suikoden 1 and 2 and make a video talking about my thoughts. So no idea how long Suikoden is. Maybe I'll finish it in the next couple of weeks. Maybe it'll take me 2 months. I have no idea. But once I finish it, I will make a video talking about my thoughts. And then we'll do a Sunday stream for Suikoden 2. And then hopefully it won't take me a year to finish that game. And I'll do another video on what I thought of Suikoden 2 and Suikoden 1 and 2 as a whole. So that's on the horizon. And that's about all I have to say for tonight. So thank you everyone for hanging out, and I hope you have a great rest of your weekend and are enjoying some holiday cheer and presents and edible. I hope you're enjoying your edibles, but I meant to say, holiday treats, candies and things. So, my sisters once again won the sibling gift exchange by getting all of her stuff to me in a timely manner. She got all her presents to me in 2 packages, and they arrived last week. Mine got split into, I think, 5 packages, and 3 of them were supposed to arrive today. Only 2 of them did. One got delayed until middle of next week. A 4th is scheduled to arrive the end of next week, and then the 5th is scheduled to arrive sometime before January 15th. That's always the way. All right, that's it for me. Thanks everyone for hanging out. Join me tomorrow for some more Cold Steel 2, because we have to travel all over Eastern Erebonia and talk to everybody before we retake Heimdall. And, maybe rescue our sister along the way. If she's there, if it's convenient, I guess we'll do that. I'm sure Mom and Dad will be happy, but, All right, that's it. Thanks so much for watching. Take care. See you tomorrow for some Cold Steel 2, and have a good night. Take care, everyone. Bye-bye.